Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Open Studio here at People TV. I'm your host for the evening, 7-2. I want to welcome you all to the show. We're going to address some very important topics this evening. We want to make sure you guys can call in and join us. We got physical assault. You know, what happens after the headlines? You know, what about the victims when it comes to gun violence, sexual assault, things of that nature? So we want to make sure you guys call in, stay with us. The call-in number, if you want to reach us, is 404-873-0149. 404-873-0149. We have a panel of guests, very important, that's going to talk on it. So y'all make sure y'all come back, 7-2 Open Studio here at People TV. So y'all ready? Y'all back to the show. This is the Open Studio here at People TV. We're going to be discussing tonight after the headlines. You know, what's going on with the victims. There's a lot of things happening in our community this evening. We're going to touch on them, but we want to also discuss some of the things that aren't said. So this is an opportunity to express yourself about what's going on in the community. We have a lot of things going on with the police. We have domestic violence. We have sexual assault. We have a lot of things going on in our community that we want to address. We are here for the community. Once again, just so you know, if you want to call in, that number is 404-873-0149. I'm joined this evening by some wonderful guests. If you guys follow me, you know that I mess up names, so I'm going to give them an opportunity to introduce themselves to you and tell you what they do this evening, starting here to my right. Thank you so much.
I'm Jessica Dorsey, Executive Director for Crime Victim Advocacy Counseling.
I'm Deidre Poindexter, and I'm with the National Hookup of Black Women, Atlanta Metro Chapter. I'm the president.
My name is Juanita Burgess. I'm with Atlanta Victim Assistance, headed by Brenda Muhammad as our director.
All right. Well, I want to thank all of you guys for joining us this evening. We got some good topics to get into. Unfortunately, it's emotional topics and things of that nature, but we got an hour, so we're just going to dive into it. I'm going to start off right now with a touchy subject that's going on in our community, and that was the murder or the shooting of a police officer here in Riverdale, Major Greg Barney. My prayers go out to the family and everyone involved in that incident, but that falls under gun violence, which is a major thing that goes on in our community. We want to take that first off and going into that. One of the things I want to speak about as far as the side effects or getting into harm's way, is there one of you that want to speak on that to start the show off? We're going to go ahead. I'll let you take it.
Gun violence in our community is rampant at this point, and it was a tragic loss with the actual killing of a police officer. Mm-hmm. One of the things that as a community we need to come together to eradicate some of the gun violence, mm-hmm. and work with the victim, as well as just work with our youth in our communities to actually reduce and stop some gun violence.
Now, if I'm hearing it correctly, what they say the word on the street is, what actually happened, it was a no-knock warrant, and the officer did not have on his vest. Now, I understand that there's a lot of things that happen under police protocol and things of that nature with our youth going on right now. But on this particular occasion, the police officer was the victim. So how do you guys feel about, that incident in itself, how it happened, and, just your thoughts on it? I want to go to you as well.
Well, it's very tragedy that our youth is out there not in school or not doing something to further their education or going to a technical school or college, something to occupy their time. And like I said, with the officer, he was there as a supervisor, so he wasn't dressed and prepared to wear his protective gear. And he just saw that his fellow officer needed some assistance, and he jumped in. But it's a sad thing that our young people is turning to that type of violence, and it's getting younger and younger.
What do you guys have to say about on the reversing? I want to make sure we cover all spectrums. As far as the children of the officer, the children of some of the family members of the youth that are gunned down by the police here out in the street. We want to make sure we open it up for all of that. The victims, the families, they're the ones, after the cameras go away, and that's our subject tonight. After the cameras leave, the families lose loved ones, whether it's the officer or the mother of a teenage youth out here in the community. What are your thoughts on how can we get them help when it comes to gun violence afterwards? Any organizations and things of that nature that we can get involved in?
Well, first off, you have to realize is that there is a ripple effect to every crime that happens. So, of course, your first thought is to think about the crime itself, except you're not thinking about what the family has to go through. Mom who still has to raise her children, children who have lost a parent or any relative. And in each situation, everyone is dealing with their grief at a different level. And there are agencies that offer counseling so that everyone can get the advice that they need to handle their emotional self and still be able to be productive on a day-to-day basis.
I'm gonna go to Jesselyn Dorsey. Here, I understand that you got your Crime Victim Advocacy Council. You work with 75 to 80% deal with the violence, the family members of those that suffer from violence. Let me get your thoughts on that.
As Juanita indicated, the aftermath is you have victims as well as survivors of loved ones that have actually been murdered. And there are agencies available to help those victims. Our agency actually provides a weekly support group that's free of charge.
Can you tell us a little bit about your agency, the name of it, and
The name of the agency is Crime Victim Advocacy Council, CVAC.
okay,
And we have weekly support groups that are open to anyone that's a victim or a survivor of a violent crime, not just homicide or murder, but domestic violence, aggravated assault, sexual assault. We work with all victims. But just speaking on terms of murder, as Juanita indicated, there are different levels of persons that are going through the grief process. We take them as they are.
okay,
And you come to us, whether it's the most recent event or 2 to 3 years. And a lot of times there are stages that people have to go through. And most people don't understand exactly what's happening to them. They know they're grieving their loved ones, and some people don't realize the next step they need to take in order to get help. And that's where our agency is available, as well as Juanita's agency, Atlanta Victim Assistance. They're there to support people and counsel them as well.
Now let's talk a little bit about one of the stages that I've heard that a lot of people are frustrated with, or they have need assistance going through, is the criminal justice system when it comes to the aftermath of losing one. Can you speak on that and how that affects them?
Yes, the criminal justice process for a victim, if they haven't been through that process before, it's an unknown.
Okay.
And normally you don't understand that until you actually get through the process.
Okay.
We have our local district attorney's office. If a perpetrator has actually been caught, that's when the district attorney's office comes into play.
Okay.
Those offices actually have victim advocates that are there to support a victim and help them through the judicial process. However, our agency, Crime Victim Advocacy Council, as well as Atlanta Victim Assistance, we're there also to support people through the court proceedings, to let them know exactly what's going to happen during those different processes, from the arraignment to the bond hearing, any appeal hearings that they have, even through the trial. We're there to tell you exactly the next steps and what to expect.
Now, before we get too late in the show, I want to make sure if they need that assistance, how do they reach you?
To reach Crime Victim Advocacy Council, the number is 770-333-9254.
Okay.
Or you can go to our website at www.cvaconline.org.
Okay.
Or you can email us at askcvac@cvaconline.org.
Okay, thank you. Now you wanted to say something?
Yes, I wanted to point out is that Ms. Dorsey mentioned the criminal justice procedure. However, not often an arrest is made right away.
Okay.
Our agency, Atlanta Victim Assistance, we work with Atlanta Police Department to contact all victims of crime and see what their extra needs are before an arrest is made.
Okay.
If it is a case of domestic violence and the perpetrator has not been apprehended, we're helping those put together a safety plan for when they do choose to leave their abuser or until that abuser is caught. Also helping them to get a temporary protective order so that they have a feeling of safety while they're waiting for the police to come in and make an arrest.
What's something we can do in the community to I guess, bridge relations between the officers and the community? Because that's tension on both sides. You know, a lot of people feel upset about what happened with the officer. A lot of people feel upset what happened with the youth. But what's one of the things as far as communication that we can do to bridge that gap?
Okay. We have, in the city of Atlanta, there are community meetings, the MPUs, and neighborhood association meetings that Victim Advocacy is in attendance along with the police. Now, these are leaders, and it is open to the public so that any questions and concerns about the area can be addressed to the police.
Okay, good. I want to go on. You spoke about domestic violence, and Deidre Poindexter, thank you. I want to throw to you on this one. I understand you work with teens overcoming pressure in middle schools and things of that nature. Can you speak on that?
Yes, teens overcoming pressure is something that our organization does, and especially in the month of October and February, which is the month that we are in now.
Okay.
So we bring awareness to the middle school and to the high school, because if you actually look at it, middle school is the root of where it starts at. They begin to go through their hormones. They begin to like one another. They don't know exactly what it does. We still grow up on that old myth from grandmother to grandmother. Say, well, you know, if he hits you, that means he likes you.
Right.
If he runs off, that means he really likes you. So then it goes into high school where it goes to they're thinking, well, he's a good provider. He's going to do something for himself. He's going to make this. He's going to make that.
Right.
You know, you just put up with it until then. So now we're trying to let them know, and the parents let them know, we need to throw those myths out the window. That's not the right things to do.
Let's get into the opposite. Should I say females, domestic violence when it comes to females against males, you know, because you have some women who get physical with men not knowing that you're going down a dangerous path. What would you say to that?
Well, that is on the rise. We do have a lot more female abusers that's out there.
Why is that? What are the signs of that? Like, you know, I can't speak on that, but it's real. I didn't know it's kind of shameful for a man to admit that. I had some men admit that to me in private. Like, yo, she keep hitting me. She keep, you know what I mean? And they don't know what to do.
Back again, it goes back to that myth.
Okay.
Don't put your hand on a woman.
Mm-hmm.
She can hit you as many times as she wants to, but you don't put your hand on her.
Is that a myth, or are you saying that's true? You want to stick with that?
That's what the thinking is.
Oh, so they're using that as
right. Like
okay.
my mama, taught me, don't hit a woman. I'm not going to hit you. So it gives that female even more power to say, I'm going to do it anyway. You're not going to touch me. You know, I can say anything that comes into verbal abuse as well as physical abuse. It can go into emotional abuse, meaning that I make more money than you do. I'm the one who's taking care of you. You're nothing. Why should I let you be the head of the house? So it can really goes that way. Same way it goes into middle school with the young kids are saying that, hey, you know what? I'm the prettiest girl. You better be glad you with me.
You right about that.
Seriously.
You put it out there. You better be happy. You lucky you with me. So look, let's put it out there. Okay, middle school. So at an early age, you know, and I want to take the opportunity. You know, we're floating on the surface here, but I want to get a little deeper. What are some of the signs in middle school? You know, domestic violence. You know, yeah, you can look into bruises and things of that nature, but what's some signs as for parents, you know, that you can tell if your child is a victim of that?
Well, little things like, well, he does everything I tell him to do. I told him, don't be taking no more phone calls from that other girl. If I see you one more time looking at her in the classroom.
Oh, yeah. It's going down.
It's going down.
Okay.
Yeah, meet me in the lunchroom.
Right.
You sit with nobody but me.
That's territorial. Y'all getting aggressive. It's getting real aggressive over here, man.
But it gets to be more than that.
Okay.
You think that's, oh, well, he's going to protect me.
Right.
So I have to protect my interests. So if the next female sees that potential, then she's going to act out on him.
Okay.
And females will try harder to be physically overcoming a man because the man has his strength. So, all righty, all you can do is hit me. But I can pick up this chair and throw it at you.
Okay.
I'm going to do more damage, maybe, if you get to me, because I got distance from you.
Okay, you're right. You know, a lot of women, look, y'all didn't think we was going to come there. I just want to throw it out there. I know it's happening so much.
And then the other thing.
Hold on one second. I don't mean to cut you off, but we got a phone call. Caller, you there?
Walt,
Hello, caller, you
very
there?
good show. Very, very good show. I
Amen.
do have a question because it seems like the violence in the schools and at home is taking place. I'm an advocate for school uniforms, K through 12,
Okay.
K through 12, because I think that just the peer pressure is just putting things in a very bad light. I'll hang up and please tell me what you think.
Well,
Thanks.
well, me personally, I'm definitely for uniforms. I love to see the kids suited and booted. I love to see them shaped up, and I think it does a lot for their self-esteem. It takes a lot of pressure away from what they're wearing in school as far as how you can get picked on, bullying, from clothes. It's a lot cheaper for the parent as far as the budget. It does a lot for the community where you can focus on the child. This is my opinion, but I'm going to leave it for you guys to speak on it.
Well, I can say, because I'm in the school, part of the PTSA at my son's school, so they wear uniforms. And I just learned something just 2 weeks ago. My son said, they're going to slap my shoes. I'm like, what you talking about? They're going to slap your
Slap your
shoes?
shoes?
Right. All y'all supposed to wear black shoes or brown shoes. No, they can tell if your shoes came from Walmart or Payless. So when they slap your shoes,
They're going to slap your shoes.
that let them know that you got some good pair of shoes on.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, y'all all wearing the same thing. We thought we were going to move past that.
Hey man, you know what? I understand identity. You know, for middle school, it's big. You know, it's big. It doesn't take that much. You know, and that gets into bullying and self-esteem and stuff like that. Domestic violence. A lot of fights happen. You know, started from that. People picking on, your economic status and stuff like that. So it starts with a lot of that. Any last words on that? Because I want to kind of move the conversation forward a little bit.
Point on the thing with the kids. It's not just among the students. You're seeing children being aggressive toward teachers. And now,
Can we get some teachers to call in or teachers in the audience? Because I thank y'all. I couldn't do it. I ain't got the patience for it. I'm going to be honest with you.
I understand that too.
I
I
couldn't do
don't
it.
have the patience either, except I think that most of the acting out with kids is they're strict and structured at home, so they look for that release at school, and then they can take it out on their friends and they can take it out on the teacher.
Right.
Because the teacher, again, is limited.
Yeah. And the teacher you can only do so much in the classroom. You know, we saw last time, and I kind of feel bad for them because we want discipline, we want structure, but then when that child, obeys the rules of the room, or you have to keep command of that room, you're kind of stuck at that point. You know, it's a bad situation. I don't have the answers, but I do feel sorry for the teachers, and if I can help out, I wish I could.
I think there's also a reverse side to that. There are students that don't have the structure at home.
Right.
And
No home training.
So exactly.
There you go, badass kids. Yeah, I said it.
So they come to school and they're prone to act out, even more so because that's what they do in their home environment.
Right.
So, and there are teachers that, like you said, there are limitations of what they can do, so they don't do much of anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go into physical assault a little bit. Okay, and this is not just domestic. Let's go with at work, or let's go with in the public, because there's a lot of things people don't understand. Simple battery or physical assault. A lot of times people find themselves. A lot of our youth find themselves catching charges. Fights nowadays are not like they were when I was growing up. If you get in a fight, that can definitely lead you into the criminal, court system and have a paper trail. So what do you guys have to say about physical assault?
You think that crimes that children commit are closed, but the pattern of the behavior does lead into adult criminals. So with someone who has not been taught to channel their anger or their conflict, either it being taught at home or at school or with counseling on, let's deal with this a different way. The first thing is going back to how you told it, if somebody hits you, you hit them. You got to change that. Right now it's not. It's moving slow.
Change it to what?
Well, when someone hits you, whatever happened to turn the other cheek, walk away. If you have a chance to walk away, do walk away.
Well, let's deal with that. You know what I mean? And I understand we got a phone call. I'm just going to say this real quick. Let's deal with that. A lot of our youth, we're saying that, and that sounds good, but obviously, out here in our community, that's not the case. And I can't even sit here and say honestly, if a man rolled up and just slapped me, we're going to have a problem. Am I going to turn the other cheek? That's probably no. But the question is, legally, what are our rights and how do we try to prevent that actually from happening as far as language? I feel a lot of it's provoked, with aggressive language and things of that nature. So how do we get to that? But before we answer that, caller, you there? Hello, caller.
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hey, how are you doing?
I'm fine. How are you?
Wonderful.
I was calling in because my daughter was cyberbullied on National Thought Day. Her and her frenemies had some words. So the frenemy had the school, the majority of the school just walked past her and clapped their hands. And I received a call from the school that she had been cyberbullied and that the two children, that they punished two of the children, but the people who instigated the event were not punished. So what do we say to schools that have a primary responsibility to direct these children's lives, but cover up? Because technically what they did when I went to the school, they called me at, when I went to the school, they shut me down. In fact, I refused to talk about the event and threatened me and told me that if I brought it up, my daughter would be punished.
Can you elaborate for those that don't know what exactly happened when you say cyberbullying? What happened, if you don't mind?
She was called a thought. I'm sorry. She was called a thought on Instagram.
She was called a what on Instagram?
A thought. That hole over there.
That's
It wasn't implied.
The acronyms.
And so, see, these are 11 and 12-year-olds. These are children.
Oh.
School.
And so she went in the bathroom and cried when she was told by a friend what it meant, because she didn't know what it meant. And so that's when, I guess, it was brought to the school's attention. And I received a call from the vice president of the school that told me that they needed to inform me that my daughter had been cyberbullied and that they had put two of the children on academic probation for the day. And when my daughter got home and we talked about it, she said that the girl who actually started it was one of her frenemies and that the school didn't do anything to her. She's the person that went around and told everybody that when she walked by to clap their hands, which is calling her a thought, technically.
And the school didn't back you on that. They didn't.
They did not support me on that. They shut me down. When I went up to the school to try to discuss it, they told me that it was a closed case, that they had put the kids on the two kids on academic whatever for the day, and that was it. They refused to discuss it with me. They completely shut me down and told me that if I wanted to reopen it, that my daughter would be the one who got in trouble. And I felt threatened by the school at that time. Now you're threatening me when, as a parent, it is my responsibility to come and find out what's going on up here.
Well, thank you for calling in. I do want to ask you one more question because this is community. This is one of the things that goes on in our culture. We hide or we don't go directly to it. What was the name of the school?
I can't say that. It's a blue ribbon. It's a Decatur blue ribbon school.
Oh, okay.
Magnet.
Okay.
And the impression is that everything is wonderful, when in actuality the kids in the magnet is just like any other children.
Okay. Thank you for calling, caller. I appreciate it. Ms. Poindexter, did you want to comment on? Or?
Yeah, I do. And it is a big thing in middle school.
I didn't know what that was like that.
Yeah, cyberbullying is through the internet, and they do Kik, Snapchat. They have it spread around, but you can take legal action against that. You can report that to the police. The parent can. The parents of that child will be prosecuted. All they had to do is just show the evidence. You can trace it back to the IP.
The parents need to hear that. Wait a minute. So you're telling me, if my child, first of all, I know for sure, my child, I'm going to tell you right now. So you telling me, if our child, all of it, if you have children, community, y'all need to know this. If your child goes to school, says something out of his mouth, like that, what was the
acronym.
The acronym, what was that?
About before.
What was it, by the way?
Thought.
Thought.
THOT.
Thought. If my son goes to school and thought, you thought you was in trouble, boy. Wait, we can get charged for that as parents.
Yes, you can.
With what?
Because you are still, that child is a minor. You are over that minor.
But what's the charge?
Well, I mean, it can go into a whole bunch of things. All depends on what was said. Even if they say through their text message or through Kik, they can say, well, I'm going to kick your butt after school, or I'm going to rough you up. I'm going to get my people. So it can be considered as a terrorist threat.
Oh, they had some heavy charges. Okay, all right, okay. Wow, thank you, caller. That threw me for a loop there.
But they can take that documentation to the police
Okay.
to file charges. That is one of the things that they can do. If the school also has a right, they should have called the authority. If not, then that parent of that child can go to the police office, and then they can trace where it originated, started at. That's from the IP of that smartphone, where it came from.
And speaking of that, studio audience, if you guys want to get involved, please, I want them to help set up a mic or get you guys involved if that's allowed. We love to hear your input as well. And when it comes to the social or the phones and things of that nature, that's what gets the bullying or the online, the access to the phones and the internet. How can we control that? What's your opinion on the household? For example, in my household, there's no electronics during the week, period. Okay, so that's just what it is. That's just me. I'm old school like that. That's just me. But what do you guys feel as far as the phones, the internet, the email, Snapchat? They got all these apps where you can hide what's going on in the phone. The child get the phone. You don't know what's in the phone. You used to just have a basic code. Now they got codes behind codes behind codes. What do you think of that?
I think as a parent, if you're actually supplying the phone, then it's your right as a parent to actually monitor what your child is actually doing.
Okay.
And I know it's hard for some parents, and they want their children to have independence and flexibility and all of that. But to me, in a true parental household, if you're the one paying for that phone, and you should have access to every code, password, and be able to look at whatever your child's doing.
That's what I did with mine. They don't know that I had the password to their phone.
Why not?
It's none of their business that I had the password to their phones.
Oh, okay.
So I checked their phones. Now, I never confronted them, but if they're lying, I know they were lying. They know they're lying. So if they're saying, I'm going to Susie's house, and I say no, I'm not going to say, you're not going to Susie's house, you're going to Billy's house. I'm not telling them that. The answer is just no.
Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. Callers, call in, or studio audience, if you guys disagree with me. I'm going all through your phone. I'm going through your room. I'm going through your bag. I'm going to let you know off the rip. I don't care how you feel about it. This is not your house. It's not your phone. It's not your room. It's not none of that. Okay? Under my household, I believe personally, why are we so, I don't want to use the word scared, but why are we so hesitant to take that position with our children? And we give them, and then we're shocked when they have thought or they get into things, You tell me. You seem to be involved a lot with the youth. Talk to me. You know all the little lingo and everything.
I mean, because I'm there, and because our organization, because we work with teens, we make it our business.
Okay.
Where that we'll give you the codes to how to decipher what they're saying.
Okay.
Like the one I always pick out, they say GNOC.
GNOC.
Yeah, GNOC.
Parents, y'all need to be listening to this now. GNOC. We got a caller. Hold on. What's that mean?
Get naked on camera.
All right. Caller. Caller.
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a friend, one of my neighbors. Her husband was killed by a drunk driver. And since that time, she has a 13-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old daughter. And since he passed, she's been struggling, trying to figure out how to be both mother and father. But her kids have been doing a lot of acting out, and a lot of it has to do with the loss of that father out of the family. What services, or are there any services or anything that can help this family kind of get back together after this? Because they are basically the victims.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for calling, guests. You guys there?
Okay. There's an organization that actually helps kids with free counseling to kind of help them learn how to cope and deal with their grief that they're going through. Because a lot of times that's why they're acting out, because they don't know exactly how to manage or understand exactly what has happened to them. I mean, it was a violent, tragic accident, vehicular homicide. So there are probably a lot of emotions that they're going through, and at such a young age, they're probably not sure how to deal with it. There's an organization for children called Kate's Club that in the city of Atlanta, and I don't have their phone number, but if you Google Kate's Club, Atlanta, Georgia, they will come up, and they actually have free counseling sessions that will actually help children and give them other ways to learn how to deal with their grief.
Okay. Well, I know we want to take a break here shortly, but I want to get into something regarding, she spoke about well, we have one more phone call. Caller, you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Hey, how are you?
Fine, sir, fine. I just want to make a couple of quick comments. I think that we have to get really serious about what's going on, that the school system is just another holding tank for prison. And even though it might look good on the outside, there's chaos on the inside. A lot of times what you're seeing now is excessive substitute teachers coming in, and that causes instability with students because you're constantly seeing new teachers being rotated into the classrooms. Mm-hmm. They also don't have books anymore. A lot of times they're giving them handouts, so a child is not able to look forward or project about what lessons are coming in the future. They have AP classes where children are operating on a 4th grade level, and they're being deceived to think that these AP classes mean they're doing advanced placement college level work when they're really still doing elementary work. Then you see the violence, you see the gangs, you see the police brutality, you see high security, you see fights. And what we have to do is be courageous enough to start our own small homeschool groups and get out of the system. They're using Ritalin instead of recess. Recess takes care of a lot of those problems that we call as ADHD. But we have to be courageous enough to say, hey, these same people are the people who, lynched our ancestors, who brought us over on the ship, who treat us horribly, and now we're giving them our prized possession to raise. We have to be courageous enough to start our own small homeschool groups and just get out of the system. Because it's not designed for us, and it's never going to work.
Well, thank you for calling. That's definitely, she had a point of view on it. There's a positive and negative, in my opinion, to the school systems. That's obviously she has a strong opinion of it. And being homeschooled, do you guys have any thoughts on what the caller just said?
Yeah, I see what the caller is saying, because now parents are trying to go to a smarter setting for their children, from the public school to a charter school or a private school where the classroom is 15 to 10 kids in the classroom, so they can get the one-on-one hands attention. And I think another thing, like the caller said, is too structured. Sometimes you can be too structured, right, where you feel like a robot. You have to bring creativity back into the classroom. Allow the kids to use their imagination. Let them think. We have too many technology that do the thinking for them, so they don't have nothing else to do.
And the caller spoke on recess. Everything is structured. To me, growing up, I grew up in Gresham Park. Gresham Park Elementary is gone now. When I was a kid, I remember they used to open the back door and just, there it is, 30 minutes. And you get out there and just run around. Now, they don't have that release. They're taking, music and stuff out of the schools, things of that nature. First of all, thank you to the teachers. I said in the beginning, I don't have the patience, so maybe I said that off the air, but I thank you to the teachers who do it. I do feel as though you have to have a patience for kids if you're going to be in the school system. You have to recognize that, getting into it. Sometimes I get calls from teachers, with my kids, for example. Your son was talking today. Okay, he's 6. Is that what, I just want to get that thought on it. I don't want to just down our school systems, but we do have issues that we need to address. The caller, brought up some good points, but I just think we need to collectively come up with solutions to those problems, and not just speak about them. But I want to take a break, come back, just a quick 30-second reset. We're going to come back. Thank y'all for joining. This is People TV. If you want to call in again, that number that I had here, you can go to peopletv.org, or the number is 404-873-0149, 404-873-0149. We'll be right back with you. how to seal. Welcome back. Here at 7-2, we're here speaking about domestic advocacy and things we can do to help the community with domestic violence, sex trafficking, violence, things of that nature. We've been having a great show. I'm joined by Marilyn Jennings. How are you doing, ma'am? If you can please, I understand you're youth mentor and coordinator for domestic violence.
Yes.
If you go ahead and tell the people who you are and what you do.
I stayed here on this bed at my grandma's house, and I stood right here in my grandpa's spare room. But I was running out of options until I finally found this transitional house. It was for women veterans with children. Do you remember when we used to sleep on this bed together? Some of the other women there would help me watch her while I worked and went to school. And then we moved into our own place. It was through VA supportive housing.
Just going out and bringing awareness and turning the volume up on domestic violence.
First of all, I'm sorry about your loss, with your sister. Can you speak a little bit about, not to bring up the wound, but speak a little bit about that scenario as far as to bring awareness to prior signs, what happened afterwards, were you able to get help, what organizations helped you, things of that nature?
When it happened, of course, we didn't even see it coming. And at the time, we was all living under one roof, so we didn't see what was called domestic violence. We didn't see, we learned after it happened the signs that we should have been paying attention to, and it was the controlling issue. It was texting all the time, always having to check in, things that we thought were just normal things, but actually it was building up to those signs of domestic violence, things that she was going through that she didn't even tell us, but her friends knew about it, but no one ever spoke on it. But after it happened, of course, the district attorneys of Atlanta's, the advocates came out and helped us and supported us and was there for us. But it was a challenging couple of years for my parents and I, just dealing with it, just domestic violence itself, dealing with the fact that my sister was murdered by a boyfriend and not even seeing and wasn't even able to do anything about it. And of course, after the headlines on when the public is gone and everybody is gone, we're at home suffering. The pain is unbearable and it's challenging, and you don't even know if you're coming or going. A piece of you is missing, and you don't know how to bounce back for that. So you're struggling at this point.
And I'm glad you said that after the headlines are gone, after the publicity, and not to, I don't know how long that lasted. How long did that last as far as public, people?
The first 2 weeks, you got the cameras at your house every day. People knocking, want to interview, want to, have a lot of questions. So I would say after the end of the funeral, then maybe a month after that, you may have some people that want to do some surveys, ask questions, but it dies down after that. But as that dies down, your pain continues to grow. And
I want to get into the side effects of that because it lasts long after the headlines go away. Is that a sense? Does that make you feel a certain way, like you were, manipulated or taken advantage of, or how do you even feel about that? How do the victims feel about that?
Embarrassed, hurt. We did feel like we were taken advantage of. You don't even feel like you fit in anymore. You don't know where you belong at. You felt like, what did I do to deserve this? Because you're dealing with this pain that you're trying to heal from, and you're trying to live on with, and it's so unbearable. And you just, why? What did I do? Was it what did we do so bad to have to hurt like this? Now you took an our loved one, but you took a part of us as well.
Now let's fast forward to current day. What are you involved in now? What organizations, things that are there to assist people who are going through the same thing that you went through?
In 2009, we started a walkathon that's called Clara's Royal Court,
okay.
Which we honor families who have lost someone to domestic violence. That was one of the biggest things that I wanted to do, was honor a family, because when the headlines are gone and you're dealing with that pain and you're still the memories, you want to be, you think you're alone. And the purpose of the walk was to recognize families, let them know that there are people out here that still care, we're still concerned, and we just want to love on you and celebrate you. So as Clara's Royal Court is now Clara's Voice, but it's a part of Harm's Way Foundation, because it's beyond just the walk itself. It's about raising awareness, but it's also about the survivors. You want to be able to get them out of harm's way. You want to be there for them. We walk once a year in April.
Okay.
We walk the first Saturday of every April.
Okay.
Because that's when her death was in April. So we walk the first Saturday. And we honor, like I said, we honor families as well, but also allowing the voices. We are the voices. It's time for someone to speak out for those who are hiding, who are not ready, who are feeling ashamed.
Right.
So it's, so this year, it's all about hashtag being the voice. Let's be the voice for those who are still quiet. Let's be the voice for those that are still feeling ashamed because you feel like you've done something wrong, you're not worth anything, and you think there's something that you should have accepted because, again, it's been a part of your generation. A lot of things that we have experienced, it comes from generations.
Right.
And domestic violence is a generational curse.
Right.
And by coming out walking, and being the voices and educating and speaking up, we're breaking that chain. We're turning that cycle around.
Now, I want to elaborate on the walk itself. You said it's in April. Where is it? How do they get involved? And then what are some of the barriers that, you have to push people through? Like you said, they may be ashamed or they don't want to publicly go through it. Let's speak on that and get them involved, get them the information to get involved in some of those barriers that they push through.
Okay. The walk will be this year at the YMCA on Camerton Road.
Okay.
And again, it's called The Walk is Clara's Voice, hashtag Be the Voice. And you people that want to come out, say, and just speak. We have a couple of people that's going to come out and tell their stories. 70 years old, up to, young as 30. But you have those that don't want to talk about it, but they show up. And even if they don't want to tell their story, someone is there that's willing to tell their story for them. But as you get people to tell their stories, other people want to open up and share theirs too, because they realize that they're not the only one that has been through those things.
Now, how do they reach the organization? The website or email?
We have an email, and it's harmswaycv@hotmail.com.
Okay. Say that one more time.
harmswaycv@hotmail.com.
Okay. And is there a process? Is there a fee or registration? Or?
It's a registration. There's no registration fee. It is the walkathon is somewhat of a fundraiser because we do try to raise money for the families.
Okay.
And as Harm's Way continues to grow, as raising money and looking for sponsors for that, and then to be able to help families get out of harm's way. When someone has been assaulted, they don't have to run back home. And they can't go back to work with them. Harm's Way want to be there to be able to help either pay some bills or bus tickets or just get them to safety. So that's one of the key things that we are launching this year.
Okay, good. Well, I thank you for that. And once again, it needs to be out there. And one last thing you would say to the victims or who are kind of shy and nervous about coming public, is there a certain message you want to put out there about that?
Yes. I would say you are not alone. I would say it's time to break generational curses. If you don't speak out, your children are not going to speak out. It doesn't stop with you.
You're right about that. Okay, I want to move forward once again, going forward a little bit. I want to get into sexual assault, okay? And I want to start off with sex trafficking, okay? There's a lot of that going on here in Atlanta. Sex trafficking from 10 years old and on up. It happens a lot. On the South Side, it happens a lot at the truck stops. It happens a lot. What are you guys hearing about that? What's the acronym for so we can know? I'm serious. We need to know, man, because a lot of us, we're not in the know. It's happening right around us. They're texting it right around us. You may pass a sign to say this is a spot. You see a sign. You don't know what that means. That could be a pickup point. We don't know. So what do you guys, the sex trafficking, what do you guys want to say of that? Or
It's on the rise. And being on the South Side in Clayton County, Henry County, we're right next to the airport. So it's people can fly in, get a book of a hotel. You don't have to tell the hotel the reason why you need a room. As long as you paying that $150, $200 for a room, that's it. And they really targeting middle schoolers.
what?
Yes, they targeting middle schoolers. And you have it, the economy was down so bad, we had unfinished houses. So it got to the point where high schoolers was, the old term, you can call it whatever you want to call it, were pimping the kids, making money for older guys to come in and they'll get one of the abandoned houses and have the girls sit up there, and it works on their self-esteem. You dating me, I'm the football player, I'm the basketball, I'm the track star, do that for me, you my number one girl, they just need, a little something. And then they go find the abandoned house. Or like you said, they fly in, by the time the police catch up with them and everything, they don't flew back out, you don't even know who it is.
Now, how is it, how are you hearing about the transaction itself? Let's get into, like you said, the pimping or the high school versus the middle school. They don't have to actually leave the house to be involved in sex trafficking. As far as like, when you think of sex trafficking, you think of 1 minute the girl's here and the next minute they're missing for 2 months or 3 months. I'm hearing that this is happening and they're still coming home every day.
That's true. That's true. It's the ones that you have to start noticing that miss 1 or 2 days of school, and then all of a sudden they come to school with some jewelry or hair made up, or they'll go tell their girlfriends that I have an older boyfriend. They don't say it's a man. They just say it's an older boyfriend. Make you think.
They didn't say he's 42.
Right.
Okay, and not to interrupt you, and that's that. It's sickening to hear about it, but but I'm doing that. Because it hurts to hear that that's happening so much. It's sad, actually, but we have to dive into this, y'all, as a community. We have to talk about it. We understand we got a caller. Caller, you there? Hello? Caller? I think we left the caller. They're gone. All right, we're gonna keep going. Okay. So it happens in the house, things of that nature, the sex trafficking, things of that nature. When it comes to sex trafficking or sexual assault, about the females who don't have anywhere to go, they're living with this man. Now let's get back on, two adults who are, sexual assault. They're living with this person. They're dependent on them economically. How do they get out? What organization do they call to get out? How do they go about it safely, to get out? Anyone?
Well, there are several ways that they can actually do that. There's 1-800 domestic violence hotline that they can actually call.
Okay.
To get support, as well as there are local agencies, Atlanta Victim Assistance, Crime Victim Advocacy Council. We can help them work out a safety plan.
Okay. And can you give that information, the contact to reach you again directly?
Yes. Crime Victim Advocacy Council is 770-333-9254.
Okay.
The website is www.cvaconline.org. Okay. Or you can email us at askcvac@cvaconline.org.
Okay. So how do they, for example, this guy's been hitting on his, spouse. He left to go to work. Now what? In my opinion, I feel like it's okay. He's left, leave the house, but psychologically they don't leave. How do we?
I was about to say, there's fear that has been placed in most domestic violence victims that they have to get the strength and really acknowledge that domestic violence is going on. A lot of people don't understand and know the signs. They know their friends abusing them, but their loved one is abusing them, but then they know they depend on them for a livelihood. I can't leave. I don't have money. I don't have transportation. This person controls everything.
What are some of those signs for you to look for? What are those signs outside of bruises? What are some of those signs?
Well, it was just like she said before with her sister. The controlling. Want to know where you at all times. You got to call me when this. They make up excuses why you can't go with your family. Well, I need for you to do this. I can't do this without you.
Right.
So then the victim end up making excuses for them, saying, well, you know how he is, he likes it when I could be
crazy
at home and do this and everything. And then the family like, wait, he can't just do it one time? Well, no, because I don't got it into a habit. Now I don't spoil them. So now he expects for me to be the one to do this, be home at a certain time, to have this ready or that ready, or he just go kind of crazy and stuff like that. So we end up making excuses for them to justify their actions.
Did you want to chime in on that?
No, I definitely agree with her. A lot of times you recognize domestic when there's a lot of isolation involved. You're standing off from family and friends. You don't want to come out, and definitely when you make an excuse for your spouse, and because your spouse says, I do this because I love you. I'm trying to protect you, and I hit you because, but you made me mad, but it won't happen again. And all you thinking about is, well, he loves me, and you feel important or you value, so you'll take that hit, and then it grows and grows to the point that it's so out of control. But now you're just scared what to do, and you don't have anybody to turn to because you've turned your family away, your friends away, and so you think you're stuck now.
We have a studio audience guest that wants to speak. Go ahead. Thank you so much.
Hey, how are you? My name is Dr. James Pearson. I am the founder and convener for the Metropolitan Atlanta Violence Prevention Partnership. And I wanted to make you aware of the fact that Morehouse School of Medicine is going to be having a violence prevention summit that addresses a wide range of the topics that you're talking about tonight, including domestic violence, school violence, interpersonal violence, and so on. And what they're going to be doing is focusing on tested solutions that are effective, that are known on a national and international level to be effective for preventing violence. So I wanted you to be aware of that. I congratulate the guests in sharing the information that they are as far as the real face of violence and how it affects Atlanta.
What would be, before you go, thank you so much, what would be your personal advice out of any of the topics that we spoke of here today that you want to just make sure you put in the community?
Well, the biggest problem that we as a city have, and I've been working in violence prevention since 2005, the biggest problem that we have is that too many of us don't do our homework in terms of what the solutions really are. And that's why this event that I'm talking about is so important. And I have plenty of flyers, but
And for the guests that can't read that, or can you verbally say that information on how
it's
they
at
reach
the Morehouse School of Medicine on April the 6th. I believe it's all day, like from 9 until 6.
Okay.
But the problem is that we haven't done our homework, so we don't know what solutions actually are out there that have already been tested nationally and internationally, and that have gone through a whole rigorous process of approval in order for us to, and all we have to do is pull them off the shelf. So because people are so busy, trying to come up with things shoot from the hip, they're not aware of these solutions. And so that's why we're sharing the solutions at the Morehouse School of Medicine on April 6th.
All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your thoughts. When we get into the sexual assault, and I want to take it back to the opening topic, which was gun violence, in the community. There's so much. This is a double-edged sword, in my opinion, because, we have, as a culture, we were regulated and controlled by guns, going back to slavery and things of that nature. We are in America where we want to protect our family and our children. At the same time, it's our right to bear arms legally. But we got a caller. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hey, how are you?
Good, thank you. I just wanted to thank you all for bringing awareness to these topics. They're very near and dear to my heart. I have a cousin that was kidnapped years ago, and she's still missing. And, we have reason to believe that she was, taken into sex trafficking. And so I just really appreciate the panelists for sharing their experiences and sharing the information and just bringing awareness to the community on these very important issues. So thank you all very much.
Thank you so much. Is there something that you think that we can help to prevent that from happening again, or is there a sign that maybe you guys saw early or can share with us? You there?
Oh, I don't know. I'm going to leave it to the experts.
Okay. Thank you for calling. All right, we're going to wrap up here shortly, man. Time just gets past us. But before we run out of time, I want to thank all of my guests for speaking and sharing your information here today. Jesselyn Dorsey, once again, can you speak on your organization, what you guys do to help? How can they contact you one more time before we get out of here?
Okay. Our organization actually has been around 26 years in the metro Atlanta area.
Okay.
And we help victims of all violent crime, not just gun violence or domestic violence or homicide, but aggravated assault. We're there to provide counseling services. We do support groups on a weekly basis. We have 3 locations, Atlanta, Decatur, as well as in Gwinnett starting in April.
Okay.
And if you go to our website, you can find additional information on where those locations are actually held.
And that website again?
And that website is www.cvaconline.org.
Thank you.
And the last thing I'd just like to say, we have once a year an annual memorial service for homicide victims, and it's the second Sunday in April. And you can go to our website to find additional information related to that.
Deidre Poindexter, can you speak on it?
Yes, our organization is called the National Hookup of Black Women.
Okay.
Our chapter here in Atlanta is the Atlanta Metro chapter, and the organization itself been around since 1974.
And how can they reach you?
And they can reach me at the website www.nhbwatl.org.
Okay. Say it one more time.
www.nhbwatl.gov.
And Marilyn Jennings, and your organization, your walk, and how can they reach you one more time?
Again, the walk is the first Saturday in April at the YMCA on Camerton Road.
Okay.
They can reach me at, harmswaycv@hotmail.com. And come out, support us. The walk starts at 9 o'clock. My number is also 678-851-0390. Be supportive, bring someone out, be the voice. It's time to come together as a community and turn up the volume and just speak on this silent killing.
All right. Well, I thank all of you guys for helping us. We have one more studio panel person wants to speak before we leave.
Yes, my name is Juanita Burgess. I'm with Atlanta Victim Assistance. Our number is 404-588-4740. We work with the Atlanta Police Department to contact all victims of any violent crime to see of any services that they may qualify for.
All right. That being said, I thank y'all for joining us. My name is 72. Thank y'all for joining us for Open Studio here at People TV. That's peopletv.org. peopletv.org. Let's speak on it. Let's act on it. Love.